computer. Welcome everyone to today's Zoom Creative Embellishment Attachment class. It's going to be an introduction to this embellishment attachment. Yes, I like to include a project to give you something to work for or towards. There are many different things going on today, and I'm not sure that we will start the project from, and stitch from start to finish. That's okay. I will give you the basics of the attachment and everything that I know, and Cindy's going to add to anything that I happen to miss. And we kind of tag team doing this embellishment because we're both crazy about little gadgets. I like the bigger gadgets sometimes. She likes the itsy bitsy tiny gadgets, but we still love gadgets. So when this first came out, we were all gaga, and we had a huge learning curve, and many of you are suffering that right now. And the learning curve is essential because, let me say, all right, because there's so much information, and at the beginning there was nothing. At least now we have a manual, and we've had a couple of Facebook Lives that people can help us, but we're still at a loss, many of us, to just open the box and jump right in. So the first thing I wanted to do was show you some different projects, and let me see if I can move my tablet around and see if I can get everything into focus. So here's my shirt. Sorry, I'm late. I was sewing. Story of my life. And here we go. So I wanted to start with this pillow. This is the pillow, the first project that we did. And let me spotlight my tablet. I'm going to be going back and forth so that you can see everything that's going on, not me. You don't need to see me, actually. There. All right. So this pillow right here just about was the end of us. This was our very first project, and what I did is I had the idea to put some type of lettering in with the design. Little did we know that you have to do the embroidery first and then do the design. We did the design and had a heck of a time trying to add that embroidery. But as you can see, it's done, and we were able to figure it out. We did another one, and this one has a story. Every one of these seems to have a story, but this one, what happened was, this one we got right. I put the lettering in first, and then we sewed the lamb. However, I didn't have enough ribbon. And so somewhere in here, you will see where I added the second ribbon, which was just a shade off. Nobody knows that until I point it out. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So if I bring it closer, you may be able to see the difference, but essentially there are two different ribbons because we didn't calculate correctly. And I'm going to try and teach you how to do that correctly. And I add a little bit more than Cindy, but that's okay. Just as long as we have enough, that's okay. Then, and I didn't bring everything. Then Cindy got a wild hair. No, let me see. This is first with Cindy. And she loves dabbling in the software. So she stitched out the snowman first. And as you can see, and many of you have seen this before, this is absolutely beautiful. Let me see. Something came up. Okay. All right. All right. Prudence just sent me a text. She can't make it, but she'll watch the recording. And that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with you guys just sitting there watching, or some of you are working or have other commitments. You will get the recording. No problem. So he's pretty special, I think, with all that ribbon, and look at the designs. And the woman that does the digitizing is Barbara from Sweden, and she's very, very knowledgeable in this attachment. And so all of the educators refer to her if they have any questions. So then Cindy got the wild hair to make it a leprechaun. And so she added the hat. And what was needed, in my opinion, was to move the hat down so it just didn't look like it was sticking on top. But look at how clever that is with the red-orange ribbon. And then again, this shows up really is very distinguishable, that part of the design. And then we went to Uncle Sam. And so with just the one design that you would now own. So for example, I own this design. I am able to alter it and change it and then save it. And I actually can share this too, since I own it. All right, so that's where she started. Then she, of course, we all were so impressed with Karen Charles' interpretation of this lion. And
wow,
isn't that gorgeous? And this part here, instead of ribbon, you can switch it to another color. And when you change the design to another color, you lose the ribbon stitching or the bead stitching, and you just get a straight stitch. So if I bring this up closer, you can see that that is just a stitch that was supposed to include the ribbon, but by changing the color, it just becomes a top stitch or a stipple stitch, and holds it in place. And then there's the multicolored ribbon. Isn't that gorgeous? It's very striking. And I only brought the one home. The other one was a typical lion with a golden ribbon, that sort of thing. This one, I mean, just the digitizing. I want to point out that because Barbara's so good. Just the digitizing, the dimension on that face is incredible. All right, now I decided, after several of them, to try to create something of my own. And this is from a picture that we took incognito at a gift shop in Phoenix, Arizona, when we were waiting to board the plane from convention. And several of these are with a ribbon, and those were purchased designs. But then I wanted this multicolor yarn that was left over from a kit from a convention class. And so I had to convert this from the ribbon design to a yarn design. And that really was not hard at all, but I was pretty proud of myself. This stitch right here, I designed in Stitch Creator. And then I added what you really can't see because it appears as one, but I added different pieces of green batiks a la Laura Hanky. You know, she's a collage queen. And I just kind of put it together. Well, interestingly enough, she came out with a cactus this month. There's a new pattern, or recently, let me put it that way. But I like mine much better. And I was thinking of doing this a class, and I still might do that as a class too. Because you could easily, you don't have to own the ribbon attachment, but boy, that makes a difference. And you could just free motion couch on yarn and ribbon yourself with a couching foot bed is an additional expense. Okay. Then we come to our design. And this is my table runner that I designed. I love doing designing and coming up with new ideas. So this is my table runner that I'm going to show you today. how to do the ribbon attachment, the yarn attachment. This is a baby rickrack attachment, and I'll show you how to do that. And then the beads. These beads are 3 millimeter. And then on the other side, baby rickrack again. This was a ribbon that I had that I liked the stitching on it. I'm not sure it works, but it's there. And then this is the beads, and it didn't come together nicely. So you know how that goes, guys. You just stick something on top of it to cover it up. Just like that. Okay? And then Cindy also did her own design, and her design includes an applique heart and then the beaded on top. She used the edit points in the software to adjust the beads to form the shape of the original heart. This design is available, and I will get to you. She had said, Cindy, are you there? She may not be there.
Did she do the applique first? Right.
Yes, absolutely. She did the applique first, right? And she had mentioned about getting it free with this class. So this is her design, and I'll show you in a bit a few more bits of information about this as well. Okay, so that's the design out of the software. Lastly, this design is built in your machine. And what I did is I used some different yarns. This is a 4 millimeter bead, and then some ribbon. The stitching is just gorgeous the way it's open like that. Here you see it all in white. I just thought this was stunning, but it wasn't quite what I wanted, so it's still a sample. And then I designed this wall hanging right here using the stitches in the first category on the machine. And then I added the butterfly right there. And that's the 4 millimeter stitches. That's the same butterfly that you see 2 other times. Lots that you can do. I just love this fabric. By the time I finished this wall hanging, the fabric was gone. Story of my life. Then on the wall, you see my wall hanging that is up all year round, not just this holiday. But in the center block, sorry about that, I'll get it right. In that center block right there is the Love You that's on this, it's in my sonnet, but some of you have it on your machine. Okay, realize that this tool, the embellishment tool, works on both our Viking machines, Epic 2 and 3, and the cloth icon only. Now, there is a ribbon attachment, and I'm going to talk about that shortly. But what I want to do is I want to go back. Remember, this is an introduction. So I'm going to go back to the how-tos of finding designs, because a lot of times you don't want to just jump in with making your own designs. You can see all the pre-prep I've done in the past by practicing designs and trying out different color combinations. And this is just a small assortment of my projects, of our projects, because we still have more in the store. So let me come over here with my book, and I'll readjust my screen. And hopefully this will work. And I'll turn it down. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just go down a little bit more. Okay. All right. You see me in the background, right? There I am. Now, this is the embroidery collection that came with our machines, the sampler in Terry's machine. I don't know if it's available or not. I think that was the last I heard. But when you open up the embroidery collection manual, you will see all of, this is basically the key. These are the different designs that are included in the collection and the symbols that associate themselves with a certain technique. This is a symbol for the creative embellishment attachment. So with the icon 2, they listed all of these. These are the categories that are in your machine under the embroidery section, all built in. Then you go to the signature collection is called, and in the signature collection, you will see which ones, these are not, which ones have the embroidery attachment. And that one does right here. If you watched the Karen Charles Facebook Live the other day, you saw this design. She's just so clever at what she does. She put some kind of maybe glitter flex or something behind it. And then when she stitched on top of it, let me see if I can focus. I gotta stop moving. There. When she stitched on top of it, some of the area showed through the glitter flex. So as you go through the book, just specifically look for that attachment and realize that's what that means. If you look closer at the key, it tells you when to insert the yarn. And that's the symbol for the yarn, little balls of yarn. That is the ribbon. Now, when I first was looking through the designs, I got very confused because there were 2 butterflies. And let me find, here they are. And since they don't have a page number, you'll have to just turn in your book eventually till you find it. So this one, I had to delve deeply to look to see how this one was different from the other one. And what it is, it's right there, 2mm beads. And if you come over here to this one, 4mm beads. So that's the difference. So that's when I said I use the 4mm beads on that butterfly. That's what I was referring to. Okay, so this particular butterfly is all yarn. And if we get the opportunity at the end, I'll go into my sew net and show you how to find other designs. But some of you are pretty savvy. You probably have looked already. Okay, now.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
If it says it uses that size bead, can you go in and change it so it will use a different size bead, or you can't do that?
No, because the section, as soon as you change something, it turns it into a stitch.
Okay.
So it's pre-designed by the software developers for that size bead. Now, I use 3mm beads. And if you use 3mm beads, it's best to use a 4mm setting. And I'll explain that too. Excuse me, I'll explain that too. Okay, so let's talk about the attachment. So here is the attachment. And the manual that I sent to everybody has some good basic information. And this is what was missing when we first got the attachment. So now, on both the Viking site and the FOF site, they're finally up to speed. Oh. So when I open the box, let me pull this out so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'll show it close up. Look what I did. I taped my little wire to the box using some Tinkerbell tape. Washi tape will work. I would not recommend using frog tape or painter's tape. That may pull off, although they say it won't. But that's how I make sure I don't lose it. Because if you lose it, it is very expensive to replace. So, and it does come in handy. There are some yarns that are just so unruly, they do not want to play nice, and you will need something to insert it with. And that's the perfect tool. So it's a little wire and a little plastic sleeve. Then here's the embellishment attachment, and it is worthless because all it is just a safety section and important safety instructions. So that was totally worthless to me. Okay. And oh, this is just some MySewNet information. Again, not really worth, but there you go. All right, in the box, let me see if you can pull this up, maybe some. Can everybody see the box parts? I'll pull them out.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're looking at that handout, this is page 1. The handout puts a name to all of these parts. And that's nice because then if I call it something specifically, people should know what it is. A is the embellishment unit. That is this part right here. And it has 2 bases. The bases are, let's see what they call them, the ribbon base and the bead base. This is the ribbon base, and I can tell just by looking at it that it's a ribbon base because it has a slot. First of all, it has this center dial, and that's where the needle enters, right there. Then when I flip it over, this dial is to adjust for the width of the ribbons. You can remove the base quite easily by pushing right here with this little dial, or it's like a spring. I think you can see that. And you just turn it to the right and it releases. Okay, that's how you change the bases. And then here's the other base. You line it up with the red marks like that, set it down, and then twist. This is brand new, so I might have to do this on my lap. But I tested it yesterday and it worked just fine.
Well, may I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I have the icon too, but I have a Husqvarna designer embellishment attachment. Will that work, or do I need to get the FOF one?
No, that will work. Yes.
Okay.
Because it should look exactly like what I'm showing today.
It does, but I was terrified to open it until I confirmed.
No, Alma, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
So as you can see, the reason this is the beads is because see that little channel right there? That's the channel I was referring to. That's kind of hard to insert. The beads are pretty firm. They'll slide through usually with no problem. It's the yarn that's so loose and wobbly. It's kind of hard to pull through. But sometimes I use tweezers more often than that wire because I don't want to lose that wire. I'm paranoid. Everybody talks about losing it. It's expensive, that sort of thing. All righty. So now I'm going to release this.
What are you pushing to release it? Is it the black?
No, I'll show you right here. No. Right there. Right underneath that label. If you push this lever, it springs. See?
Okay.
All righty. So that's what I'm pushing. And I am going to start with a ribbon attachment. So now I'm going to line that up with those red marks like so. See, this one goes in much easier. So now it's all set. This is a spool holder. This is where you're going to insert the spool. This is the connection into the machine. Then this is the lever to insert the tool and then to release the tool. Okay, the spools look like this. And they come with, let me see if I can get it out from all this foam. They come with a spool holder. These sit like this. And the idea is that you turn it like this to feed it through. A lot of people just hold this in their hand and just put it through. I'll show you how to do that too as well. All right, so that covers everything except this, let's see, what do they call this? The attachment holder. That's the official name. So this Alma is what will fit over your machine, and it's pretty universal. This, when you look at it like this, it's upside down. What you have to do is put it right side up. These little prongs are to the right, and this little prong here is in front of the needle. So once you figure that out, you're good. The little hole right here is the screw hole, and then the screw is a thumb screw and comes with it. Okay, those are all the parts to this tool.
Adeline,
Yeah,
it looks like my part doesn't have that red line. Oh yeah, it does have the red line. Okay. Yeah,
turn it.
mine is the same.
Yeah, turn it so that the posts are to the right.
Okay,
You'll see that red line.
got it.
Okay, and then that's the screw. All righty. Good question. That's good for a review. Thank you, Heidi. All righty. Now, how we're going to find some designs on the machine is the next section that I want to go over. We found the designs in the book. We talked about pieces and parts to this tool. Don't you know that fell on the floor? Oh my God. Okay, I'll pick it up later because I had backup. Hallelujah. So here's my backup. Right here. All righty, so let's talk about the designs on the machine and where to find them. So, what's nice is this has a USB and so does my iPad. So I'm going to plug it in to charge it. I hope. You can plug in your phone too to charge it. It says it's not charging. Okay, well, that was a good idea. Okay, here we go. So in order to find the designs, you are going to go to the Help Center. Right up there is that little book. And I'm already in the accessory guide. So let me go back. So that's the screen that opens up to the Help Center. And what I'm looking for now is this accessory guide right here. That accessory guide has the catalog, and you can use your phone with a QR code to go directly to that catalog. The quilt accessories are listed next. The embroidery accessories are listed next. And the machine accessory, the only thing that we have currently is the multi-function foot control. So let's go back to the embroidery accessories, because with the embroidery accessories, there are several different options that we can use. So up here is cutwork needles, yarn couching, creative bobbin case. This is the creative ribbon embroidery attachment. And if you look at the tool, you will notice that that looks different, because the creative ribbon attachment is the old version. So yes, you can still use the old version on your machine. This is felting, additional felting, dream hoop, texture hoop. This one is the CEA, the Creative Embroidery Attachment, or Creative Ribbon Embroidery Attachment. And you can see the spool. Whoops. My finger touched it. Let's go back. So right here, you can see the spool that is part of this attachment. Then if you scroll up, there we go. You can see the yarn part, the beads for 4 millimeter, the beads for 2 millimeter, then attaching the 60-foot CEA, which is the older version of the ribbon attachment, and then CREA, which is the newer version. And you can tell by just what it looks like. And then you long hold on it. And then it gives you a step-by-step setup guide. And that's what I'm going to go over today.
How Adeline, when I went in there, when I touch it, it goes to the part. How did you get to that screen there?
This
How'd you
screen
get to-
here,
Yeah.
I went to embroidery accessories. You should see the cutwork needles at the very top. There's so many different techniques that you have to scroll, pull it up to get to the bottom. And at
I
the
agree
bottom,
with her. I don't see that screen at all.
I
Yeah,
don't
I don't-
either.
No.
where
No.
are, just give me a hint as to, did you start up here in the help
Yep.
center?
Yep. And I saw the bird.
Okay, so hang on. Let me go back to the beginning.
Okay.
All right. Do you see this screen
No.
in the help center? This one right here.
Yes.
All right. Do we have the right screen now?
Where
Is
do you
that
find
it?
the help center?
Is that a yes from everybody?
Now, where do you
No.
find the help center?
I can't find it either. I'm on a Epic. Is that different?
Go to JOS, Terry. The sewing machine JOS.
I don't know how to do that.
It's in the middle, Terry, of your screen. It's at the top. See, like we have this sewing machine, is where you find yours.
All right, JOS, okay.
Where do you find
And
it on
then-
the icon too?
Okay, I found it.
All right. Now, in the icon 2, it's right next to the question mark in the upper right. Did you tap that?
I did, and I get this. Okay. All right, now I've got it. Thank you.
All right, now go down to the lower left and tap accessory guide. Do you have this screen, guys?
Yes.
Yes, wonderful. So that's the catalog. This is a quilt accessories. That's a whole nother game, whole nother class. And then the embroidery accessories is the next one over. All of these are individual or classes that I teach. So I've done several of these and we'll do more in the coming months. This one down here is the texture hoop. And I'll show you, I use that design on my wall hanging behind me, but that's a whole nother lesson. So now I'm just going to, you see the bird, just scroll right up underneath that bird.
I don't have those two bottom. No, I do.
I don't either.
No,
No, I
just
got
keep
it.
scrolling.
Yeah. I've
Keep
got
There's
them.
nothing to scroll to.
Keep pulling, going up like this, Janet. See if I'm here by the
No.
bird. I just put my finger
There's
here.
nothing.
Huh? No. I put my
Yep,
finger.
I
in the
got it.
bird.
I got it. I put my finger on the bird and I got it.
Okay, all right. And now you can see the others that I was referencing. That, ladies, that is great. I'm so glad because in the recording, there may be somebody who's watching the recording. Hello, everyone who's watching the recording. And they may be having the same problems / questions. Please ask. That will help immensely with everybody who's going to take a look at the recording after. Okay,
I
don't
think
feel.
the key is that you have to have your finger on the bird to scroll
Yes.
up. So that's-
Yeah,
Okay.
you gotta, it's, you know, it's just like the iPad. You have to have your finger, whatever it is, and then so you can slide up. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is if I go into the yarn, then this one's the yarn, and I long hold. Come on, there. Then you can see the directions. 1 out of 17, and you just keep going forward to, you know, to follow the directions, which I'm going to talk about today. But what I wanted to feature right here is the content. When you open up the content, you will see all the designs that are built into the machine that use yarn and the yarn attachment. These are not the numbers on the machine. They are numbered within this content. So this number 7 right here, if I tap that, and I bring that up, it will give me this message: a design is loaded. Make sure to place all the designs inside the marked area of the hoop, and make sure you select the hoop. The selected hoop is supported. Then I can go back to the instructions. I can toggle back and forth. I can toggle back and forth here, right? And if you come across a video, there's the go button. It tells you what to do. And step by step, how to set it up. This screen right here, whenever you see that, it looks like a movie camera, that means there's a video. And then what you would do is you would touch that video and you would follow the visuals. There's no sound, it's just visuals on how to put the tool back in place from the other one. And then you can do one continuous loop by tapping this screen here. And that will play it in one continuous loop. All righty. And as you can see, showing you everything that I just explained. And even putting the yarn on. Righty? Now, what's cool is this design is a yarn design. Now, it is not designed for freestanding lace or freestanding yarn work. There are other designs that you can do and to use those, and I'm going to show you one of them. And now I can't remember if this tool, this was a couching tool maybe. Here. I'm pretty sure this was the couching tool that you use through the embroidery side. So that's what this is on the heavier dissolve away. And then when you rinse this, this becomes a separate square. Some of you may have seen Karen Charles designs using these particular ones. And I'll talk about that later on. Again, another whole different lesson. This is just for embellishment. So that square right there is just for embellishment only. I'm going to delete it. Okay. So again, if you want to continue looking, you go up to the Help Center. You go down to your beads and the 4mm beads. You tap that, and again, step by step. Whoops, let me get my hand out of the way. Step by step. Just like before, the content shows you the designs in your machine that are showing you 4mm beads. Everybody got that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is that something new for all of you?
Yes.
Yay! I taught you something new. I'm
I
very
have a
excited. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yep.
There's a DEA with the bird and also a ribbon embroidery attachment. What's the difference?
Terry, before your time, there was an older version of
Oh,
this.
okay. Okay.
Okay, so it looked just like this. Can everybody
Right, but
see
it
that?
didn't have the spool.
Right, it did not have the spool. And
Okay.
that attachment is what they're referencing on the machine.
Okay.
And that one will work with the icon.
Okay.
Okay, so I can, I haven't tried that yet. I'm not interested right now in breaking my machine. So I've been using this tool strictly on the icon too.
So we would only use the DEA.
Yes, for you. Yes.
Okay. All right.
All righty. And next up, I showed you how to find the designs, and now I'm going to talk about my heart designs. Let me see if I can share my screen. All righty. Let me get back to my Zoom screen. And if I'm going to share my screen, let's see if it'll show up. All right, can you see it? There it is.
Yep.
Okay. Now, here are the designs that I made, and they were very simple to make. And I am going to go over that at the end of the class because not everyone has the Platinum software, but that's how I made it. And if I click on which heart, I think this is the double swirl, double yarn. I want the heart ribbon first. And I double click on it and it will open up in the software. Okay, so that's what it looks like in the software. If I go, let me move something here. If I go over here to this screen and I look at the color chip and I hover over it, it says that that is a ribbon attachment. As soon as I click,
I'm not seeing what you're doing. Are we supposed?
it's not on the screen. Let me see. On my screen, maybe your resolution is different. Okay, it says it, you know how you change the colors? It says it won't find it. And then if you say okay and you pick another color because you think, well, I'm going to use red ribbon. And I am just going to go to there and click. And what it will do is not change it at all. It won't let you. So what you have to do is you have to use your ribbon color in the Platinum software when you first design it. You and I know that we are all capable of picking out threads and picking out ribbons that match. It's not an issue, but I did want to point that out because with that, excuse me, with the lion, that's how Cindy was able to get the second half of the design in a stipple. And what's very cool too is you can create an applique design. Now, again, that's a whole nother lesson. And if you are interested, if some of the members are interested in the Platinum software version and how to create your own designs, we can do that too. So I just put that little bee in your bonnet so that you can think about it. All right, now what I did, I want to go in here again. Let me share my screen right here. Okay, so I got to share my screen again. And I want to show you how and what I did. Okay, so there's my screen, right? If I go over here to the file, I'm on the left, the cursor's on the left, and I click on it, I get a screen with all sorts of options. And I go to print. And I can see it on my end. Can you guys see it on your end?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's the print screen. That's the first page. That page is at 81%. I don't want to look at that. I want the second page. And the second page contains all the information that I checked right here. So the print information is all checked, and that's what you will see on the printout right here. But more importantly, I have now the exact size of the design. That's very important to me because I use that for designing. And we're ready to move on to the next step. Anybody have any questions so far? Are we doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, that is a whole nother lesson or class.
So that's a pre-made design that you put in there that you're going to change?
No, I actually made that design in the embellish section of the Platinum software. I plan on putting that at the end of the lesson after we're all done. And I hope I have enough time for that. So, Heidi?
Adeline, I
Go ahead.
have software. I have software from a different company, but I doubt it would work. Don't I need FAF software?
Yes, yes. We are the only company currently that has this tool.
Okay.
Now, we used to say we're the only company that had the floating stitches, but that's not true anymore. Genome's come out with them. They call them the Mirage stitches. They're on the Epic 3. So currently, we are the only ones who have the embellishment attachment. And
Okay.
that part is in the Platinum section too, Heidi. And you can try it for a month if you want to see if it's really that easy to do.
Okay.
I'm not going to show you the hard parts yet. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back to my table and show you my iPad. So as soon as I find it, there it is. There we go. And I'm going to spotlight the iPad. All righty. Okay. So here we are. Whoops. I don't want to do that anyhow. So let me. Okay. I'll use that. So I'll put that over here. And then we'll bring this over here. Okay. And we'll go up here. And I'll turn it down. All righty. So here are my choices. These are my designs that are not my designs are right here. I'm gonna go over that in a minute. These are, let me see if I can turn this, see if that helps. There's my designs. Is that better? Can everybody see?
Yes.
And everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I find when I walk away that some of you can't hear me. So I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. So here we go. All righty. So this is my tray of tools. And I found this tray. It looks like a hospital tray on wheels. And I put my projects in there. And then I take the tray out and I have everything that I need, which is one of the reasons why I clean my room. I'm always pulling stuff up and trying to find everything. So now I use this tray as an organizational tool. And I'll post that on our group so you can see it. I had to buy it from Joann's. I guess it's on sale this week. And when I get a minute, maybe I'll roll it out and show you all my projects that are on it. Okay, but anyhow, on this tray, I have the 3mm beads. And those were from Amazon because I couldn't find any 2mm. We have since found some. This was at the very beginning. This is one of my first purchases. I found some red beads to go with the newest project that I'm working on, and these are 4mm. So what you should do right away is when you get your beads on the cardboard cap, you want to write down what it is to avoid any confusion. Because even though I can tell the difference, not everybody can tell the difference. So do yourself a favor and just label it. Okay, so we're going to use the red one today. Then I pulled out some ribbon. This one is similar to the baby rickrack, but this is 1/8 of an inch. And I will show you how I did that. I was surprised it worked with a rickrack, but it did. So I'm going to try this as well. These are the two ribbons. They are 3/8 of an inch. And if I can on the foam, I'll just put 3/8. And 3/8 is, let me see what it is in millimeters. 9mm. Okay. So now that does help. You'll see later on why. All right, so I have a pink and a red for my newest table ribbon. I've got the beads, the ribbon, and now the yarn. This velvet yarn is so luscious. And I put the link on the Amazon site that I got it from. That was strictly so you didn't have to scour Amazon trying to find different tools. Now, the other thing that I put that link for, not that you have to have them, not by any means. I expect you to use your stash, which is where this came from. Dollar Tree. I don't know if they still have it, but I just grab them when I see it. But when you are trying to teach a class, it's best if you can create the project and have the students be able to purchase the projects that you have used or the supplies, which is why I did that. We also try our very best to test things out. I did not do this. Cindy did it. She tested out rhinestones. They do not work. They break, and we don't want our machine or the tool to break, for sure. It's pretty expensive. So here's my supplies for my design. All right, set that aside. Okay, let me make myself some more room here. And I have to clean the floor so I don't trip. But that's my next best place to put things. I pulled out this very narrow ribbon. Again, it's 1/8 or 3mm. And I might create a new design for this. I'm not sure. But it's similar to the baby rickrack. Okay. What I did is when I created these designs, as I said, I printed them out on paper, and now I'm going to use them for my designs. So on the printout, it shows you the color, which is irrelevant really. The embellishment attachment says yarn, and it says how many stitches, 209, and the length that we need is 33.59 inches. And there's an option on the software in the printout screen where you pick inches. And then here it is with the yarn information is 3mm, and we need 0.69 yards. To me, that says yards, and so I probably a little less than 3/4, but I go up to a full yard. So that's how I decide how to do that one. Okay, I did that with each of these. This is the beads, and the beads are the same. It tells you the same information in the printout. Now, the printout is in silver platinum, so it's not in the basics. You can't print out anything in the basic software. The other piece that it has is also the design size. And so that's important to me because I need to know that's the technical information, the distance from the center. And then these are the dimensions. This design is about 3 inches by 2 3/4. That helps for planning and designing. All right. So now, if you want, I would recommend that you do a sample. And many of you, although I don't know what I did with it, my sample is floating around here in the room, but many of you saw my sample. I posted that as a sneak peek first. So I would recommend you all do a sample first. So this is my linen I'm working with today. I starched it. It's still not really stiff, but I went ahead and starched it anyhow. And I'm going to try it today. Alrighty, then I like using, in this case, I used the 200 by 200 quilting hoop. I did pull out my magnetic hoop. That's 200 by 200. You see it right here. I have the magnets. I love using a magnetic hoop. And in this case, it may be advantageous to use this. Okay. So, but I'm going to use today the 200 by 200 because I know not all of you have either of these hoops, but I'll show you where you would select your hoop. All right, so those are the hoops. The stabilizer, I am going to use tearaway. And tearaway, it's probably more a medium. I don't see a paper on this, so that tells me it's Inspira. So it's more of a medium than a light or a heavy. Okay, now the reason I use a tearaway is I tried using the sticky back, and we have sampler kits at the store, so I'm getting those out now. Here's the sampler kits. They have both a FOF sampler kit and the Viking sampler kit. So I tried the washable stabilizer, and if you're familiar with any of these stabilizers, they are similar to Perfect Stick. What's the other one? Can't think of them all. But this is a wet, sticky back, so it's probably wet and gone tacky, sticky, something like that. All right, this is great because this is a sampler pack, and you get 2 of each in this larger size, so you have plenty to play with and trying out. So I did one with a sampler, and then I thought or with a sticky back, and it worked really well. And then I started cheating and started adding little snips and bits and pieces on the back. We all do that. And there was too much coating on the machine from the sticky, I guess, or it just wasn't happy and it wouldn't grab the bobbin thread. So I was having all kinds of problems. So I switched back to the tearaway. Okay, so stabilizers. So I've gone over hoops, stabilizers, and the yarn, beads, and ribbon. Okay. If you haven't watched Karen Charles' Facebook Live, go back and watch it now because she showed you a lot of different ideas similar to what I've done, but she's got a really pretty type of yarn. I think it may have been called the chinchilla yarn, and I've seen it, but I did not purchase it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to start designing. And I need the friction pen, and my friction pen is pink. And I am going to pull out my long ruler and start designing. So I made 2 copies of everything. And this is my copy of the ribbon. So let me get my paper scissors or shears. And I am going to cut this out. So I have one that I keep in my notebook with all my designs and stuff. And then this one is for the physical designing that I'm doing. Okay, so I decided,
Adeline,
yeah,
I just have a question. So if I don't have software, would the website tell me how much yarn or ribbon I need to wind?
oh yes, very good point. I will show you on the machine where you can find that. Very good
Okay.
point. And Terry, yours is similar.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put what I want. Now, this table runner is a 10-minute table runner. If you're not doing all this embellishment. So this width from here to here is approximately 13 inches, but I cut it bigger. I cut it 16 inches and then whittled it down. And then it went together very quickly. This is satin and this is a suede cotton. Both of these came from my stash. I have no idea where they came from, but it was perfect. You know how sometimes it's just perfect for what you want to use, and so I used it.
Mhm.
You can certainly use whatever you want. And also for designing, I just used, I knew I wanted to make the 10-minute table runner, so it said 9 inches, and I knew that was way too skinny. So what I did is I cut my fabric. This is almost 16. It looks like 50. No, it's 15. That's not 16. So it's 15 inches wide. And then it's the width of the, width of fabric, but it's approximately 44 inches. Okay. If you have a favorite table runner that you put on your table all the time, measure that. And then add several inches at the top and bottom and several inches at the side. What you want is to make sure that it can be cut down. But if you want, also you can draw your lines on your fabric to where you want the finished size to be. I don't do that. I make it work. But that's a good way to do designs. This would look so cute as a little table topper, a little mini wall hanging. I think she's going to make it into a pillow. But that is also another idea. So sometimes I create things and turn them into pillows, and then we have way too many pillows. So then I started putting them, making them and putting them in onto canvas and like this so that I can hang it on the wall, and then I ran out of wall space. So yeah, it's whatever works for you guys. Alrighty. So here is my one heart. I'm going to put it right about there. No rhyme or reason yet. Just put it right there. Then I'm going to take the papers that, let me see, where did my practice ones go? I got a pile already. Doesn't take long. Here we go. So this is my heart swirl with the beads, and this is the 4mm. So I am going to cut this out and try and decide where I want to place it. So I'm going to put it like right there. So I have ribbon here, beads here, And then I might just use a yarn. Let me pull this up. I'm not real, I don't know. This one is going to be a single linen tablecloth with when I'm finished, it's going to have heirloom stitching around the side, like you see on tablecloth napkins, that sort of thing. Hem stitching it's called. All right. I don't know if I'll ever get it done. I think it's going to stay a sample. So I have this going this way, and what this does is it helps so you don't mess this up and put it upside down. Okay. And then I need something with yarn. So I'm going to put this double swirl yarn. Okay. All right. So I think what I'll do is, this says red ribbon. Try this. Red ribbon. Red beads. Who knows? This may be just plain red. Red beads. And it might just be red and white, the opposite. The more I look at it. And red yarn. So I kind of like that look right now. But if I wanted to mix it up, I could simply swap this out like that. And then instead of red yarn, I could make it purple. Anybody have any vote as to which way I should go?
I
No?
like the reds.
I like
like
the
the-
red.
You like the red?
I like
Yep.
the reds.
Yep.
The red.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to go do red. The consensus is red. All right. So that's easy. Okay. Just like that.
Mhm.
Now, you can also, if you're not real brave, you can mirror the other at the end, at the other end. You just mirror it over here, and I'm gonna have to move a few things. On the floor,
Are
of course.
those ribbons from your stash, or did you recently buy those?
Oh, I think, let me put it this way. I think I bought them on Amazon when I didn't know what I was doing. So they worked and I was pleased. Then I went back because I knew what I was doing. See, that's the whole thing. Then I found these at Walmart. Right here. See? So I bought two. Because I know red is one of my signature colors. So I know
Yeah.
I don't have enough of red of anything. All right. So that's pretty much how I did it. It was a hit and miss when we first started. And then because we're talking about 3 years ago. So we've been doing this for over 3 years. And I'm happy the way we did it because it was baby steps, a little bit at a time. Start with just ribbon only. We got that under our belt. Then we knew what to look for when we got to the beads and the yarn, and we went from there. Okay, so I will probably do the same thing at the other end, but before I do, just to avoid confusion, before I do, I want to find, and I'm going to try and show you this with my camera. I'm going to find the center right there. And let's see if it popped up. Nope. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. If you have a punch that works like a crocodile, you can put your own hole in it. But what I'm doing is I just put a pin in the center. And I'm going to go up here, right? Maybe right there. just have to have enough fabric. That's the whole thing. And then I'm going to put a dot right there. Okay, so there's my cross point. And I'll show you. See my mark? That's my mark. Okay, right like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the yarn. Now, I need to allow for a mitered corner. So I have to, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'll show you. I might have to change a few things, but I don't know, we'll see. So if I allow for a mitered corner like that, I have to know that that's going to work, and that is a little bit too close to the edge. So I probably will move it over. See, this is all about trial and error, I have to admit. But what I'll do is, in the directions that I'll write up for you later, I'll tell you how far from the edge of the fabric and how far from the bottom to the center to make your first mark. That should help you. But I'm just showing you, the reason I'm showing you this way is this is how I come up with my ideas. And then this one is going to be right here, closer. And then I'm going to put my pen in there and mark it. And then I have to remark this one. And here's a little hint that I get from my crafting. You don't have to iron these to get rid of those marks. You can take a blow dryer and just blow it with your hair dryer and it disappears too. So I actually use friction pens on paper and it works just the same. So that's a good tip. Because I'm not ironing on top of my mat. We know better. So there's my, this is yarn. Made a yarn, Y, this is bead. Bead, and now I'm going to use this right here for my ribbon. Now, if you feel better that you would rather have the actual size, that's easy to do. That is quite easy to do. You fold the paper in half. Of course, you can use a ruler, but that's a little bit too easy for me. And I just put my marks at the top and the bottom, like that. And now I fold it over like this. I don't have to draw the whole thing because I am going to use a projector. And there we go. So there's my spot. And you can do that with all of them. That makes you feel better. Or you can use, remember the information on the printed sheet? You can use that information too. So right here, and right here, and right here. And same thing with this one. And then we're ready to roll. So I have, whoops, wrong way. I have here and here and here and here. So does everybody understand what I just did? So now, if I were giving you directions, I would say to measure from the bottom to the center mark is 7 inches. See the 7 inches right there? This one to the center is 13 inches. This one to the center is 5 inches. So we've got 5, 7, and 13. Perfect. All right, here we go. So we're all set to stage. Now, where's my sample fabric? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I don't want to ruin this yet. I want to make sure everything is all working. So I am, just remember, this is my sampler. I have no idea how wide this is. Let me just. There we go. And I'm going to just put it down here. And like this. And I know you can't see that, but I'm going to show you in a minute. So this is my sample. And I just marked for my ribbon practice. Right there. Okay. All right, here we go. Now we're ready for the ribbon. So let me come over here to sit down so I can show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to put this together. And this I'm going to set aside. I need this. And I need this. I'm going to put it right on the machine. Try and clean up my space here. All right, so here's my ribbon. And it says in my printout, what did I do with it? In my printout, right here, that I need 1.16 yards. See where I'm right here? All right, there. Okay. That to me is probably a good 1 3/4 yards. Now, Karen Charles, it just dropped on the floor. Karen Charles will load 30 inches or what did she say, 30 yards at a time? I'm not doing that because I'm going to change colors here or, you know, different. So I am going to sort of kind of measure. And let me see what this is on my map. Yeah. So this, let me see if this helps if I turn it. Is that the right way? No. Let me turn it again. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Don't look, don't look, don't look. Whee! There we go. There. So what I did is I approximately cut off 2 yards. There's 1 yard right here. And now I'm going to double it. Double it. Yep. Yep. That's what he said. I don't know who's picking up my sound. And cut it. Just like that. Okay. Now, one of the things that I do, I gotta get this off the floor. Of course, I dropped that. Is I will cut it at an angle. Where's my camera? Okay, there's my camera. Okay, I'm going to cut it at an angle, like that. Makes it a little easier to wind. I'm going to take the spool. Right here is the slit. And then what I like to do, I'm super cautious, overly cautious, so I pull it out of the top. And like that. So I have enough. And then the idea is to put this in here like so, and to turn it. However, for some people that doesn't really work well, so they'll pick it up. And what you want to do is you want to distribute that. Why is that doing that? Want to distribute this evenly. Oops. By far, the ribbon is easiest. Okay, let me do this in my lap. You got the idea, right? You guys, you got the idea? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because it's a lot easier if I do it. Actually, it's a lot easier if I just wrap it around like this. To be honest with you, this is what I do. No. Did you hear the doorbell?
No.
Good.
And I have my hearing aids on, so.
Well, that's even better. I didn't want to shut the door because it gets warm in here. We're back to warm weather here in Florida. It's 72 degrees, maybe. I can't see it actually. Now, before I go any further, just kind of wrap it around like this. Then what I do is I put it directly into the tool. So it goes this way. It's off the back, coming off the back. And I put it in like so. And I go ahead and lock it. And locking is twice. So now it shouldn't, the spool shouldn't move. So if you, when you lock it in place, you see that part right there? Kind of hard to see, but there's a little arrow here with an opening. Yeah. Now it tells me that's locked. Then I feed it through. Let me do this. Maybe that'll help. I gotta be able to see what I'm doing. And then I turn it over and put it through here. And then, see? And then in there. Well, I got the wrong end, so that's easy. That's easy enough. Gonna go like this. And then I'm gonna put that through there. What?
And this is with double-sided ribbon?
Uh-huh. I
Okay.
try not to torture myself because trying to figure out which is up and which is down, I just make sure I get double-sided.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, it's just too hard to figure it out. And I pull it through. And I have a tail. Now, this is where I want, let me see if I can get a better photo. There we go. See, this is too loose. You need to adjust. See this thing, see this plastic piece right here? You need to adjust it. There. So that it's snug. Because that's what holds it in place. Just like that. Pretty simple. Okay, so it looks like this. All righty, now let's go over to the machine. I've already taken off the ankle. And I'm looking to see, I don't know, I'm gonna echo. Just started. So I have my so the machine view is on the left on my screen. Is it on yours? Yeah, it's on top, depending on your iPad or your computer. And the bottom screen is my phone. All right. So let me move over like this. Can everybody see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I took off the ankle and I have my tool, my adapter. Right, here it is. And what I'm going to do is I am going to make sure that those prongs are to the right. And I am going to slide the post that holds the ankle right in like that. Can everybody see what I did?
Yes.
And then I'm going to screw this in. And I'm going to tighten it. Tight as can be. And then some. Okay, now, hopefully you can see. I don't know if I can zoom in or not. Doesn't look like it. So right here, it's screwed in. And I need to make sure the IDT is out of the way. I changed my needle. I need to change my needle and get it all set up to stitch. Okay, I currently have white thread. So I'm going to change it to red because I don't want the white stitching to show on my red ribbon. Sometimes it's nice and sometimes it's not. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to change to a full bobbin. Now I buy the big spools. So I am going to change to a full bobbin that I have wound with this thread. That's my personal opinion. You can use bobbin thread if you like, but I don't want to have any tension issues, which we shouldn't. And cut the thread. Now, this machine has a plug right up here on top. I know you can't see it. I'll show you what the plug looks like. Looks like this. And what I did is I cut off a little bit of a plastic eraser tool, or you slide it on the pencil to hold in your hands. And I put it over, and I'll show you what I'm talking about eventually, so that my thread doesn't grab and catch. And that I sometimes get that problem a lot with this red thread. So I'm already prepared. And I'm going to thread the machine. And yes, you can use your needle threader. And we're thread. Alrighty, now I'm ready to put the tool on. Except I have a problem. I don't have the design on my machine. So what I need to do is I need to send the design over to my machine. So in the next step, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm gonna send the design to my machine. And most of you are familiar with that. I'm opening it up in the software and I'm going up to the cloud. I know you can't see that, but I think you know what I mean. I'm going to the cloud and I'm sending it to my machine. And you might have heard it and now you can see it. It's loaded on the machine. Now it's already loaded with the 200 by 200 hoop listed. But if I didn't have that right hoop, I would change it down hoop here in the hoop options, right there. But what I wanted you to see in the hoop options, and I hope you can see this, is there are several hoops in the list, but there are only a few that are highlighted. The quilter's hoop is one of them, the metal quilter's hoop, the master hoop, the 240 by 150, both of them, the master and the metal, the elite hoop, 260 by 200, grand quilter's hoop, deluxe hoop, supreme hoop. And so I can choose any of those, but I choose the 200 by 200.
That's highlighted because you're doing that attachment?
Exactly. That's exactly why. Okay. All right. So I'm going to tap this to close it.
Adeline,
Yeah,
which design are you using first?
I am using this ribbon swirl first.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay, which is the largest one. And I would recommend that you stitch that first on a sampler and then stitch it again on your table runner. Just to get a feel for the machine and how it works, the attachment and how it works, that sort of thing. Okay, now I am going to insert the tool. Now, here's the trick. And it's important. If you go to the extra height, I also do it again and make sure I bring it down. Okay, it will set it at what it needs to be. However, it does make it a little bit easier.
So what did you just do?
I wanted to check to make sure I'm at the right position, and the extra hoop is too high, or extra lift is too high. You need to lower it so that
okay.
it's a little bit.
Okay.
It's
Or you
it's a
need it
second-
at the regular one? Is that what
the
you're saying?
regular. Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Janet. The regular setting. Yes, not
Okay.
the extra lift. That's
Okay.
where we went wrong the first time because we thought that would be easier. Then I'm going to go from behind. I'm going to line up. Let me just show you. I'm going to line up the red. Let me adjust this out of the light, ladies. See the red markings? I want to make sure
Yes.
those are aligned. Oh, come on. This is a brand new hoop, and so it's giving me. There it goes. Okay, I want to make sure those are aligned. Then I turn it so that those are in the front. And then this button here is what I push. I slide that. Let me show you. I come from behind and I bring it like this. And it's kind of hard. I gotta get square on. Sorry. All right, hang on. I might have to move the camera away just a minute so I can get it square on. There. That was a little difficult, but that's okay. I got it. I tend to, the tools get a little bit easier as you go along because it loosens up a little bit and they're not so difficult. But this is kind of brand new. It is brand new. It's not kind of. And then I make a long tail with the thread. Okay. Now, I'm going to go this way so you can see. Okay. And then I am going to insert the connection because it will not work without a connection. And see that little V? That little V has the patient. All right. Now, when you look at the machine, it says the machine embellishment needs to calibrate before you start embroidery. Make sure to have the correct pivot height for your embellishment. Go to the embroidery settings to set the recommended pivot height. Very, very important. So those settings don't pop up until you plug the tool in. So I'm going to go up here to the gear, click OK. And you see, there's all the settings. You would not see those normally. You have to insert the tool, the plug in for the tool. And then you look for what ribbon size it was. And remember when I showed you how to label the ribbon? I showed you, because this is from the same order. This is from the same order. And I showed you that it was 9 millimeters. So when you go down to the ribbon millimeters, you'll see it's 3 to 4, 5 to 7, 8 to 12. So I am going to change the height to 4. There it is. All righty, is everybody still with me?
You said 4?
I did.
Okay.
And how did you know that? Where does it show you the 4?
In the settings. So if I go back and I look right up here in the gears, I tap that, this screen shows up only after you have attached the embellishment attachment to the machine.
But how did you know to set it at 4 and not 3?
Because I go to the height, the tallest height first to see if there's any problems. And then if I find that there's problems, then I adjust it.
So it didn't tell you any place. You just knew to do that.
It just said 1 to 4, so I went with 4. Yep.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Now I hit OK. And now I have to put the tearaway in the hoop. All right. So I'm going to start with my tearaway. And I'll put it this way. And most of you know how to hoop, so I'm not going to demonstrate how to do that. It would help if I had. Who'd we lose? We didn't lose me, did we? Okay. If I'm still here, that's all that counts. And then I'm gonna tighten the hoop right here. Right there, with my tearaway. Okay, now I'm gonna put a little bit of spray adhesive. Normally I don't do this, but I don't want it to move. Because I'm not a big fan of spray adhesive. But I did use this with this. Okay, now let me get over here so you can see what's going on. Okay, and I'm going to hit go because I think it's all set up. I think I'm ready. And I hit go, and then our options screen comes up. Oh, I forgot to change my plate. Oh, yeah. Okay. I am going to go without changing for this one, but I am changing it immediately after. And usually it turns off active stitch technology, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. Because when it goes to the tool, I'll show you what I'm talking about. When it goes to the tool, it usually turns it into needle tension. All right, there's my arm, right? My hoop slides right in there. Don't be afraid. It just slides right in there. I just hold this down with my hand. I'm not pushing or anything. I'm just anchoring it and it locks in place. Okay. Now, can't start without fabric. But what I want to show you next is, you'll notice right here that I can do precise positioning. So be brave. I do precise positioning. I tap the center. My cursor is the green plus. I lock it. And that is my cheater way of lining things up. So what I do, and you guys that have been in my class, you know what I'm talking about. And I line this up just like this. And I press it down just like that. And I hit OK. All right, now we're ready to go. This always makes me nervous, but cross your fingers, here we go. And now it's just gonna turn, and I got two cameras so you can see how it works. Now, what it says is to cut off the excess embellishment. Snips right there. And I'm going to cut it off. So I have a little scrap, right? It goes a little faster. And as you can see, it lines up. I don't know if you can see that, but it's lining up. And I would recommend a wider ribbon to start with. So you can make sure that it catches it. And if you look at the back of the machine or the camera shot, you can see it's stitching. This is designed for the the 9mm ribbon, but it will curl. That's, when I first did this, I was a little bit disappointed. I thought it was gonna be a nice flat ribbon. The narrower the ribbon, so you get a better effect with a 1/4 inch ribbon than you do with a 3/8. Can everybody see what's going on?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm excited. I get excited. Stitches. Now, the reason I picked these designs is they're quick, they're short, and it teaches the concept. That butterfly will take a lot of time stitching. And I didn't point out that with that the white butterfly, which I'll show you shortly, I didn't do a lot of the inner stitching. I know that doesn't make sense, but I'll show you. All righty, we're almost done. And yes, the stitch out progress does show where you are, just like as if it were thread. But it's just showing it's the ribbon. So there's no,
Adeline,
it's just the symbol. Yes?
I forget, did you keep active stitch technology on or off?
I did, I turned it off.
Okay,
I mainly turn it off whenever I'm doing a straight stitch, because you get better results with using the needle tension than the active stitch. The active stitch technology is designed for a zigzag type stitch, such as satin stitching, anything where the needle moves left to right. All right, now it says your embellishment color block is complete. Yo, pull out 2 inches of the embellishment from the attachment and cut it. So what I am doing next is I'm pulling this out right here. See how I pulled that up? And then I'm cutting it. Albeit not very good. There. And I hit OK. And then it sings to me and says my embroidery is finished. Okay, now next part is, in order to release it, make sure you unplug it first. Or, well, I don't know. Let me think about this. I usually do unplug it first, because I don't need it attached any longer. And then I push the lever right here in front, right like this. Push back, tilt it, and voila, it's out. And there is my stitched ribbon. There it is. All righty, now I didn't cut it short enough. Say, this is why I want you to do. Let me get away from the light. This is why. Let me see if this hasn't. There we go. Okay. This should have been trimmed more. So the next time I'm going to cut it closer to the needle to avoid this little tail. This is the extra. I have been known to put a hole and pull it to the back, especially with the yarns. I did that if I know that I'm going to put a lining. Now, what I can do is, now you see why I put bows there. If I didn't like the finish right there, it was kind of sloppy, then let me clean it up a little bit. Also, don't forget to use some fray check. And if I have to, I'll go in some more and trim. Okay. So I don't like those edges right here. Whoops. See the edges? I don't like those edges. So I'll go in there and trim it some more. And then if I want, I could just put a bow there. Okay. Now to remove it, you are going to pull the fabric away. Let me do something first. Let me take off this spotlight. And there we go. So there's my stitch out. And I'm just going to cut around the design. And I leave it in the hoop so it's taut and I can get a closer cut. Here, let me see if I can get a closer cut. Without cutting my fabric. That would make me cry. Now, there's the back. And I will probably go in on my table runner and clean up as much as I can. One of the things you want to remember is you want to make sure that you put your finger, let's see, put your finger right over the stitches like that, so that you can trim it without yanking that stitching out. All right. And there's my sample heart. Okay. Next up is the yarn. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to see, I have a board and I am going, because the sun looks like it's trying to peek out. I'm going to try using this on the back. Let's see if it helps. Not quite, I'm not certain it's going to help, but we'll find out in a minute. And then I'm going to change the plate. However, I want to go back and load the other design. Now, you can put the designs on a USB if you want. I'm just sending them directly from my machine. And just so you know, yesterday I had a little bit of problems with SewNet, which has been pretty typical these days. That's what I was afraid of. I lost it.
Was it last night?
Yeah, I mean, in the afternoon, last night, I had to
Okay, because I thought it was my machine. I tried to, I was trying to finish that mini and it would not let me, and it would go work and then it would say FOF is perfection or something. It would keep coming back when I would try and send stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't send it all. I had
Did you get that error? It wouldn't, it was like,
no, I
it
didn't.
was kept
Because
coming back to the black screen.
No.
So I finally logged off and logged back on.
Well, that's exactly what you have to do. And it wouldn't even send it at all. And so I had to log out and log back in on both my computer and my machine. But I don't know what they're doing, but it's not happy. Not making my machine happy, and this is not working. Okay, I'll put it up after maybe. I'm not even convinced that that'll cut the lighting, so let's just say no. Forget it. I thought it would, but it's not. So next up, I am going to make sure that you switch the plate. So get your single hole plate out. This should have been something I did in the beginning, but obviously I forgot. And let's switch it up. Because you don't want that needle to move. You want it just to kind of stay in the middle. So I'm going to pop that up. Also, before
So
you
you're
start.
saying when you did the ribbon, you should have had the single hole plate on
Oh,
too?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Both of everything. Embroidery, everything. I was stitching the last, I was designing stitches and it won't let you select any stitches if you have the single hole plate in. So I just swap it out. Okay, here we go. Single hole. But it doesn't warn you and tell you to change the plate. So I'm warning you. I'm telling you to change the plate. So remove any threads so you don't get that message to clean out the threads underneath the throat plate. And the nice thing about these designs is there's very few stitches. So you can go a long way in using your bobbin before you have to rewind it. Some of the embroidery designs, you have to wind 3 to 4 bobbins before you even start. So I'm going to delete my design. And I am next going to send over the bead design. Okay. So next up, I'm going to find my, let's see, I want the small 4mm bead design. And as I said, you can either send them to your machine and make a folder, put them on a USB, whatever works for you. And the design is now in my machine. Let's see what it looks like. And you barely can see it because it's pink, but it's right there. And I get this there. Can you guys sort of see the shape of it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, these are my 4mm beads. And right there. I have to swap out now the spool because I still can use the other ribbon. So I'm going to unlock it. There we go. Unlock it. And remove the spool. This one, they're both the same. They both can hold yarn, beads, and ribbon. Just depends on where you insert them. There is a little hole right there. And I have plenty here. And again, it tells you how much you need. And then let me see if it tells me how much I need on the machine. I'll have to look. And there is a little slit right up here that I can slide the bead through. Okay, to hold it. So it doesn't fall back out while I'm wrapping. And I like to wrap like that. So it's all lined up, and then I go back over it. These are just the things I've learned after using the tool and practicing. You can do whatever works for you. Okay, now I got that. And now I have to put the right base in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this base by pushing down that lever. See if I stand it up, if that helps. And then turn it and remove it. Then I'm going to take the bead and yarn base. I'm going to line it up so that the red marks are lined up right there. And I'm going to turn it. That's a little tight. Yeah, okay. There you go. And now we're ready. So now I feed this through. I put the beads through the back. And then I put this in place. Sometimes it hinders it, so I'll just take it out and snip it. That just took off a little bit, so I didn't need all that extra. Slide it down. Lock it. 1, 2. 2 clicks. Okay. Then I put it through, and like I said, this bead works fairly well. And then we have to go through here. See if I can move this so you can see better. Right in there. And now you can see why that wire would be handy. And then through there. So what I do is I just get out my tweezers. I love these Bach tweezers right here. And I pull them out. Just like that. Then I'm sorry. Then I turn it back. And slide it down. And what I wanted to show you in the back is there's like a little channel right here where those beads just sit nicely right in there. Okay. So it looks like that. All right. Line this up. Come back over to the machine. And insert it. Again, like so. And back on those prongs. My needle out of the way. Just like that. Okay. I got a thread, I pull up the thread, and now I'm ready to go. Okay, now let's see what we're seeing from the other end. The phone. Okay, where's my phone? Right there. So I got both ends. So there it is. All right. Now, gotta plug it in. And then I'm going to get my fabric set up. Plugged it in. Ready to roll. And it says your embellishment attach needs to calibrate. There it goes. Now, the one thing you want to remember is, and it will tell you, go back to the settings. because now it is set for the ribbon attachment. And you want to change it. So you're gonna go up here. And you'll see that the beads are 9 to 12. So 4 worked just great. And so I am going to try 9. It's lifting it up. Whoops, that's 12. I don't want to do that. So we're at 9. So I'm going to go with 9. And I'm going to hit OK. Then oh boy, I seem like I'm frugal, but basically I'm lazy. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Okay, you'll see what I'm talking about. So here's my tearaway. I really shouldn't leave this open like this. And what I could have done is patched it. So that's what I'm going to do, basically. And I'm going to show you. You can spray it. So you can spray it right here, or if you have a glue stick, a fabric glue stick, you can run a bead of glue on it. I'm just going to spray it because I want to cut another piece just yet. I'm only practicing. So I'm going to go with it. And if I had my iron on, I didn't bother to do that. But if I had my iron on, I would have ironed it nice and flat. But I think I'm good. And the reason I think it's okay, in my opinion, is because I'm going to be over here. And I don't want just that, I didn't want this not secure. So I just added this piece so that it would be secure. I do that often. You probably do too. All righty. Now, this, I'm going to put the beads up here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to have my beads right here. This is my beads template. And I'm going to put it like this so that the tip is right there and my center's right there. Now I will go ahead and do my table runner probably after. I just didn't want to. I make more mistakes, I think, when I'm trying to teach than I do when I'm just concentrating by myself. So, and just so you know, every time my husband comes into the sewing room, I make a mistake. I wish he'd stop.
Me too.
I love the one where he stands in the doorway and tries to talk to me when it's embroidering. And I told him, you need to come sit here and have me stand in the door and see if you can hear me. So frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like 99 times, you know?
Yes. And all he's telling me is something he watched on YouTube. Oh, the problems of the elderly. Okay,
At
so
least
now
mine goes off to work every day, though, Adeline.
Yeah, I know, you're lucky. He still works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you another way that you can line things up. So I marked the horizontal and the vertical mark. And I'm gonna put my piece of fabric right on that. I'm gonna line it up. Let's see if I can figure this out. So I'm gonna line it up, the marked dot right on there. I don't know if I have enough spray there to hold it down, but maybe. I think I'll add a-
Can you use the camera with that?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes what I do is I just put the hoop under there and then I put the piece of the picture right underneath there and then match it up with the video.
I'll show you what she's talking about. She's talking about putting this right there. This is a different design. I just messed up. So before I go any further, I have to change designs. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out because I just realized looking at the pattern, it doesn't match the design on the screen. Okay, so I'm working with 4mm beads. And let me check and see who needs to come in. All right. Welcome back, Lynn. Hello, Lynn.
Hi, I didn't leave.
You went somewhere.
Oh, see her.
I don't think you meant to go somewhere. All right, I'm going to send it to my machine. There it is. And now I'm going to turn on the projector. I forgot before. I was so busy about doing other things, so. And I can turn on the projector right up here. And I'm going to slide my hoop under. So much easier with this attachment. If you guys got a new one, it's just so much easier to slide it in. I just can't tell you the difference.
Wow.
And then I am, so make sure the hoop clicks in place. Then I'm going to see if it's lined up pretty close. And I'm going to turn the hand wheel and tug and bring up the bobbin thread. I know this is probably an extra step we don't need to do, but to be honest with you, I don't want to lose my bobbin thread. Okay. All right. Now, I'm gonna deselect everything so I can see what's going on. And then here we go. I get nervous every time. I'm sure you do too.
Right.
Why is it even? Oh, I gotta hit go. Duh. And you know what it's telling me? I'm gonna make sure I'm plugged in. And so now I've got the right plate on, everything's good. When I go into my options, and it's gonna start over here. I can't see a thing because it's so light. I could, you know what? I could have changed the color of it just on the machine, just so I could see it better. All right. Now, there we go. So what I need to do is I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about in a minute. It didn't, I wanna pull this and so it goes to the back. I'll show you. You ready? What I'm talking about. Say I want those beads. I want to pull them to the back. Okay, so now carefully move the embellishment backwards so it barely pushes the thread back behind the needle. Because what I want to do is I want to catch that. There we go. What you want to do is you want to manipulate it so it goes over that little thread that connects the beads. And let me get my snips. Did everybody see what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
No?
Yes.
Okay. 'Cause I'm trying really hard to show you what I'm talking about. All right, then I take out a snip. Once I got it anchored, here we go. Now on the camera view, all you can see is just the tool moving back and forth. And which is why I'm trying to show you the upper view here.
Mhm.
But it's kind of awkward with the machine in the way. That's a problem, right? Or not. But if it doesn't catch, you can go back in stitching just like you do on embroidery and catch it again. Oh, just like that. See, it's doing it. Yeah, just talking about that. All right, let me go back. I got a lot of threads here I should have snipped. Let me do that right now. Okay, we're gonna go back. Never bar. Get heavy-handed here. Ay, ay, ay.
Are you using your foot pedal?
No, I'm using the back, you know, the negative. Here, let me show you what I'm using. Thank you for asking. See all down here, those are my number of stitches. I'm going back with a minus button.
Oh, okay.
Just like we do with our
Right, with a
stitching.
design.
Yes, just like the design.
Okay.
All right, now I gotta get in there again with the thread. I'm glad this happened because, you know, that's starting to look kind of easy. To get a little slack. There we go. It might have been too tight. That might have been it, but I don't know. So let me get in there. So before I start showing you how this works. And hang on. There, picked it up.
Yeah. Sure
enough, as soon as I said that, it did it. You know what? But what it does, that arm moves back and forth to catch those beads. And then it does a tie off. And then it says to trim it. And pull some of this out. See what I'm trying to do with my snips? Pull some of it out. And snip. Okay?
Okay.
And then push this or unplug. Push this back. Tip it forward. There you go. That's not me, is it?
No.
I don't know what that was. Somebody's talking. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody see how that worked? I went back right here. With the minus button on the stitches, and then I picked it back up right here and finished it right there. And
Okay.
why that probably happened is that either I'm pretty certain that it was not coming off of the spool evenly. That's why you don't want to wrap it too tightly or too loosely. Got to get the rhythm going to just make sure it's nice and flat. Now, if I were doing, if I knew that I had a lining, I would put a little snip right here and cut it. And then I would push, I don't know if you can see that, but there's my cut. And then I would push the beads through to the back. Let me do that. And I'll show you. I did that on my cactus design. I pushed the yarns through to the back. This one may not be so easy to do. However, I am famous for fabric glue. Lynn, can you turn off your mic? Your volume?
I'm muted.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's two Lyns.
Yes, which land?
Which Lynn is it then?
Lynn with the one in.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Struggled, but I got it through. See?
Oh, yeah, that looks nice.
Isn't that neat? But
Yes.
you'll then want to add just a little bit of glue or something back here, but that's if you have a lining. I'm not going to do that to my table runner because I'm not going to use a lining with this linen. And so then the same thing happens with your cutout. You're going to cut out around here in the stabilizer and then remove it. Now this little tail here, I did take a needle and thread and just tack that down just a tad, just so it wasn't going anywhere.
And is that what you would do if you're not going to tuck that through
Yes. Yeah.
with the liner? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also sometimes if it doesn't grab, like these all grab, but if it doesn't grab, then I'll go back with a little needle and thread and just hold it down too. I try to avoid, and you know I love my glue, my fabric glue, but I try to avoid doing that with these projects because that's, I mean, this is linen. I don't want any glue on that. It might
Right.
show. So, okay. So now you can see where I lost the thread right there. So now I'm just going to remove that, and last up is the yarn. And I do not have, see if I can get a sampler. Now, I had you guys iron Pellon shape flex to the back of the table runner, and
Mhm.
that is for an added stabilizer. And because it usually adds another layer of stabilization for, you know, something like 10,000 stitches. So these are so minimal that you can do it without. Now on the back here, I'm just going to cut it, you know, through, being very careful not to cut through the front. And just use the tip of my scissors. In the meantime, holding on the beads and rip it carefully. If you have Pellon shape flex on the back of your fabric, you could probably use a tearaway light. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to peel off because I use that spray. So
Say,
just realize that.
Adeline,
Yeah.
do you think it's too thick to do this over embroidered or not, or quilted material? So
Well, go ahead.
say you did some thin quilted material. Do you think it's too thick to embellish over the top of it?
Actually, let's see, I'll remove my spotlight. Actually, depending on how thick, see, you're adding another layer of thickness that maybe I haven't ever used before. So again, do what I do and make a little sampler out of the fabric and give it a go. Just try it and do, you know, a small design.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All righty. Now, in order to do a yarn design, I need to, let me see if I can find a piece of fabric here somewhere. Silly, I know. Hey, yeah. Whoa. That just spun right on the floor. Here it is. So, this is not normally what I do, but I found some of my linen, and I'm just going to cut a little square out of my linen. Because it's always good when you're doing something like this project to have a sampler. And then who knows, you know, it might be turn into a pillow or something like that. A little mini wall hanging. Add some embroidery, like I did with these other projects. What I don't have is a luxury of a starched piece of linen, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Alrighty. So, well, as you might guess, I'm running out of stabilizer. Now I could patch it. I've been known to do that. But yeah, I might patch it. Okay, don't be judging me now, you know, with my shortcuts. So what I did is I patched it. Okay. Has anybody ever done that?
Mm.
Okay, I knew you had.
All the time.
All the time. It's expensive. The stabilizers are expensive.
Yeah, I
Oh.
sew it or zigzag it together.
Well, yes, I was doing that right before Christmas. I guess I was just so stressed. I was just sewing batting together. To take
Oh.
little pieces of batting and sewing it together, I guess.
Wow.
I know, pathetic, right? All righty, so now I am going to use, and I would recommend that you use the patterns for your practice. So if you're going to stitch this on your project, then use this for practice too. So I'm going to mark it on my fabric. And line up again like I did before with everybody, you all know what I'm talking about, right? These little marks on the hoop,
Yes.
right? Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going across and down and just coming up with approximately the center. And then if I have to, I of course can check it. But again, sampler, I would be much more accurate on my project. But with the time crunch here, I want to get everything in. All righty. Ooh, this luscious, luscious yarn. This is the challenge for sure. All right, let me add my iPad so you can use that. There we go. Okay, so here we go. And we've got it all set up already. We don't have to change it. So what I try to do is I do one and then switch to the other, either way. So I can do as much as one, like the beads and the yarn first, and before I have to swap it or switch it. But lining it up, setting it down. This is the yarn. The other reason why I like this chunky style yarn is because it hides the stitching, and that's a plus. So, oh, you little bugger. Yeah. If you have one of those plastic yarn needles, do you know what I'm talking about? Now look at that. He went right, he, whatever, went right in and out the hole.
How about a
Oh,
crochet hook? Would that work?
yeah, sure. I just don't have one. Okay. And then I just start wrapping. Wrapping. My goodness, this would be a great Afghan for like last week when we had winter.
Yeah.
I said to my husband, we wait all year and winter's here for a week. And we complain because we're cold, freezing, all that other stuff. Then can't wait for the warm temperatures. All right, so now I got that augured in. I can give that a little snip if I want to, because it's not going anywhere. And then I drop it down into the tool and I clip it. There, it's locked in place. Challenging is this part. So get out your tweezers.
Can you poke a pin once it goes through those things and slide it forward, or maybe your purple thing in those?
Sure, just do whatever works for you. Yeah. That's why I mean, you could actually make your own little, you could use those dental floss things. Let me see if I have one. I usually have them in my drawer here. You all know what I'm talking about, don't you? Those little blue dental floss things?
Yep.
You could try that. That should work really well. But no, just watch me struggle. That makes it more fun. There. And we're out. Yay! And then I just tighten this up. I can just turn that a little bit to make it tighter. Okay. So next up, I got to send my design to the machine. I got my hoop already. So the first thing I need to do, let's talk about this over here. You don't want to have one design on top of the other. So I want to
Are
go
there
back.
a lot more designs on my Sonnet for ribbon and yarn and?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over just a little bit because I want to show you those designs and how to find them, and I want to take the time just to do a quick lesson on how to make your own designs if you have platinum.
We can see you.
Say that?
I've just figured it out. There's a little
What?
there's a little slide button by my camera at the top of my screen, and it had gotten it had slid over, and so it basically just blocks it out. How
There.
hard is
Yeah,
that?
you're back.
Hi, ladies.
Yeah, I don't know
Welcome.
what button you push, but you've got like a digital kind of
Oh,
black and
okay.
white.
Here, this will help. Let me slide it back.
Now we lost you.
Oh, I just pushed the blank back over it so it's less distracting.
Oh, but that's what you look like. It was like you look like an old 30s movie.
There's probably some special effects. This is all monkeyed
Yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so I am going to get the double swirl yarn. Double yarn it's called. Nope, that's not what I want. That. Nope. Baby rick. There. No, swirl. I want swirl.
Where are
Yarn
you choosing
swirl.
that?
I'm sorry?
Where are you choosing that?
In the designs that I sent you, the last one is called yarn swirl.
Oh, you're picking the design. I thought you were trying to
Yeah.
pick a special yarn.
No, and then I am going to go to send it to my machine. Just like we always do. And there it is. There's the design. That one I can see a little bit better. Now, I don't know about you, but I sure do love my Wi-Fi. And what's so funny now, I'm being a little snobbish, is these other sewing machine companies talk about now being Wi-Fi connected like it's some big deal. Yeah. We've had that for several years. But I love sending my designs straight from the software to the machine. And I had a customer come in the other day with a Singer Futura. She thinks that's what it was. She wants a lesson. And I looked it up and it's all in this. You send the designs through the software, and the software, the last update was Windows 10. So I don't even know if it's going to work. But I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like ancient technology. But I'll figure it out. Okay, now, next up, we have the swirl design. We have our hoop all ready to go. I am going to put, again, the hoop in place. So I'm going to set this right over here. I am going to I'm not gonna hit go just yet, because I'm going to go from the back, remember? And you should be able to see it better with my camera or my phone camera than my iPad. And then I just slide that in place. I can't hold that button down at the same time. So awkward. Here we go. All right, let me get this on. You just have to kind of jiggle it a little bit. There it is. There it goes on. And then one thing I wanted to point out while you're getting this set up is that little extension that I said to make sure is in the front, right there. There's a little spot on that accessory holder that sticks out. It's like a little prong that sits right in the tool, the embellishment attachment tool, and sits right there. So as you're putting this on, just make sure you pay attention to how it sets up, so you know what you're doing. And that there was a couple of problems on the Facebook page, and I can't remember the lady. I don't know if she didn't have it properly plugged in or what it was. I can't remember, but it wouldn't work for her. So that's the good thing about the tool, but it's very frustrating too. It just won't work. All right. Okay. All right, now I'm going to hit go.
Plugged it in.
Not yet.
Oh, I thought you were gonna hit go. How can you go?
Well, you'll see that you have to hit go first, so the arm comes over. Now I slide in my hoop.
Your plug isn't in the back of the machine. Is
I'm
that,
going to plug it in now.
oh, okay, so you wait till this point?
Uh-huh. And then
Okay,
I get up and I plug it in.
okay.
And then it sets it up to embroider on my screen. So I did this, make sure I put the hoop clicks in place. It didn't click in place. Oh, booger. Oh, I got the wrong hoop. How'd that happen? You know, have you ever done that before? Oh, never, right? So if you look at my screen, I didn't pay attention. It says 240 by 150. No wonder was I unhappy. All right, now I got to go back and embroidery edit.
Would be nice if they could change that, so you could change the hoop without going back to edit.
I know, I wish that were the case, but I think maybe it's a safety feature, so that you don't accidentally stitch the wrong side of the hoop. I did that. I don't know how I did this, but I actually stitched through the one side of my quilting hoop. I don't know, one of my hoops. I couldn't believe I did that. So here we go. Let's change it now to 200 by 200. And now it should be happy. Now I'm going to go down here, see where the go is. Hit go, hit okay. And it brings the yarn back.
What's the pivot for that one?
I don't know, we got to look.
Oh, okay.
And so I lock it in place. There we go. And so before I start, I have like a little mini checklist in my mind. And so I go up here to the settings. And for yarn, it's 9. So if I accidentally just went from beads to yarn, I'm good because it's the same setting. I use 9 for the beads, and then I'm using 9 for the yarn. So we're in good shape.
Okay.
Okay. So now I go over here. And I bring my yarn over this way. There we go. And I hit okay. That won't let me stitch if it's not okay. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'll bring it over. I don't know if you can barely see my projected design. Should be able to see it right there. And so let's roll. Here we go. Got a lot of yarn here. I'm gonna roll some back up. Okay. And then I grab my thread, because that's the way I am. And it's securing it in place, I hope. And cut my yarn. I need another pair of snips to cut that yarn. I can't get in get the angle.
Use
What's that?
applique scissors for that? Would applique scissors work to get underneath there or not? Better,
It might.
you know, because they're bent.
Yeah, it might. Okay, I want to make sure that that's not going anywhere. Okay, it's not going anywhere. That doesn't make me happy. Whoops, that's not smart. I don't know. I'll show you what I'm fussing with in a minute. Yeah. It's not, I gotta get it. You know what? I'm gonna show you now what I'm talking about. See where the yarn is way over here? There's that opening for the yarn right there. See my tweezers? I gotta get that yarn back over here. It moved out of the way somehow. So let me put this down so I can fuss with it and get some longer yarn out. I have to use my left hand, I guess. Oh, I knew I'd wait till the last one. Okay, I'm gonna go back there. Let's see if I can get that to work. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna back up. I'm on stitch number 24. I'm not happy with the way that's working. So I'm gonna go back to 1. And I am going to pull out that yarn. Where's my hole? There it is. Because if it doesn't grab right at the beginning, that's when your troubles start. There, I'm gonna make a long tail. And there we go. Let's try this again. I'm gonna go with it here. That once it gets going, which it is now, I can then snip it. So be more cautious with yarn and beads. The ribbon picks it up right away, but especially with the chenille, it starts to fall apart. All right, here we go. Brush your fingers. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it so you can see.
So you don't snip it real close.
No, because then it'll, as you saw, that was a great example of how it didn't catch because I snipped it too close. So if you can, I'd leave the tail You can see the fuzz on my fabric, I think. And it's not catching, so now I gotta go back some more. There we go. All right, let's try again. I've also been known to turn off a thread cutter. Now it's working. You'll see that the needle goes back and forth like a zigzag stitch to hold the yarn in place. Oops, there you go. And then it swings around. Now, after using the original one, this works much, much better. I had to my little snips. I thought I had them. So now I'm gonna
So
just.
which throw plate do you have?
What's that?
Do you have the single, do you have the single hole throw plate on?
Oh, yes, I do now,
So
yes.
it's the hoop that's moving to make the zigzag, is that
Oh,
right?
yes, that's right. The hoop is moving, right. And then I'm all done. Now, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I lost a good portion of this design. This is the design as you see it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the design in the machine. That swirly
Oh,
one.
wow.
Oh, wow. Doesn't look at all.
No, so I lost a good portion of that design. So what
You
I would
sure it
do-
didn't, Adeline, are you sure it didn't put in the other design that you had before?
Yeah, I am. One way to check is to see. Well, maybe not.
Cause
Oh,
it looks like the bead one.
You're right. Because look at the back. It doesn't have any of those other little holes. See?
How
How did
how
that
could that
happen?
be?
Isn't that weird? Hold on. That was a design that I put in
Adeline,
originally. You're
did you
right.
not did you not delete the other design? Is it back there because it was so light? Go to your layers.
Oh, maybe. Well, I'm glad that happened. I actually
wow.
like things like that to go wrong. Well, that's
Uh.
exactly what happened.
Wow.
So it would have stitched because I thought I deleted it, but I didn't. So it stitched the first one like it should have. And then the second one would have been a mess on top. So we all problem solved. It worked out.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I know. So anyhow,
Is that why you did it use the stitching like it was stitching beads? So is that why you had trouble with the stitching?
could be, could very well be. But remember, the height is the same. But yes, this is the beads. But what I was seeing on the screen, as you can tell, I can't even see those beads. And now when I get up close, now I can. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So very good detective work. All right. So you get the idea with the yarn, right? Because I
Right.
want to go on and show you the stitching. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go back to stitching, and I'm going to go up here, right up here, to the little zigzag stitch and bring out the stitching. Okay. In the
Okay.
meantime, what you're going to see me do is remove the ankle, the attachment tool, and switch out to the ankle. so that I can screw that back in and do a decorative stitch. And then make sure it's straight and it's tightened. Oh. All right. I think that's gonna do it. There. Okay. All right. So I'll write this up as far as your directions, but I am going to switch off my phone camera so that I have just the screen so you can see what I'm doing. Now, what this is I'll show you with the camera. Oh, you won't be able to see it. Never mind. That stitch that I created right there. See, it has 3 dots, and then it goes to a heart, and then 1 dot, and then 3 dots and 1 dot. That is a stitch that you can create in Stitch Creator. Now, I am going to be doing lessons on Stitch Creator, so that's another day. But I am going to show you now how to recreate the stitch. And I need my pen. Okay, here we go. You ready? So I'm going to go down here at the bottom, Stitch Creator. I got my screens there, right? So I'm going to go up to the decorative stitches. I'm going to go to miscellaneous 6. I'm going to pick stitch number 1. Close it. Remember, anything that's highlighted is closed. All the stitches are orange. It appears yellow, but they're all orange because they're selected. So it says select multiple. I'm going to deselect that. Then I'm going to turn it back on and select multiple. And I'm going to tap right there. And it picked up all the stitches because I tapped at the beginning of that stitch formation. So it picked up all those stitches. And then I'm going to go down here to edit stitch. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to close this. And I'm going to notice that there is an extra space in here. When I hit OK, oops, that's what I was having problems with. Now you know why, right, guys? It won't let me do anything without the zigzag plate on. This smart little machine is way smarter than we are. So when I'm in designing, I have to put this plate on, which is what happened when the class started. I was practicing. All right. And now I didn't save it. Oh my. So that's okay. I got to go back and redo it. Good practice. Okay, here we go. All right, anybody ready to guess? I'm going to Stitch Creator. Rolls over into Stitch Creator. I'm going to load stitches. I'm going to go to miscellaneous 6. Going to pick number 1. Close the load designs box. All selected. Deselect multiple. Select multiple. Reselect. Now I've got that turned back on. I'm going to tap my stitches right there. And see how it picked up all of these stitches, turned it orange. That means I've grabbed those. Now I'm going to go into edit stitch and copy. Hit OK. This is where I left off. Now there's the stitches. Do you see that space right there between that first stitch and that stitch? I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to long hold and edit in Stitch Creator. If I went right back to Stitch Creator, that would have wiped it out like I did when it changed the plate. So I want to edit in Stitch Creator. It rolls into it. And this again, guys, you can scroll through it. See, there's the stitch. And you see, there's that extra stitch. Going to deselect it because if I hit delete, it's going to wipe it all out. See, so there's that extra stitch. So what it does is it makes an extra stitch in between. So this is your heart, one bobble, heart going the other way, the other bobble. This is where that extra stitch is. I am going to select just that stitch and that stitch. Whoops. There, stitch 207 in this case. And I am going to go into edit stitch and hit, whoops. And that did not work. Now I got to add a stitch. Okay, I could do that, but I'm not happy with that because it's going to do 3 little stitches. So then I'm going to wipe it out and start again. One more time. I have a feeling you'll do the same. Close this. There's that stitch I was talking about. So I'm going to deselect it. Select it again. And what I can do actually is I could select that stitch right there and delete it now if I wanted to. So I could, let's see if I can just select one stitch. Hang on. I don't know if that'll work. Nope. I'm going to go back to my original lesson. Now, I don't want that. Boy, I'm in the weeds down here. There, now I got this and just this bobble. I'm going to go in here, copy, and paste. Close it, and see what it looks like. Cross your fingers. Hey, there's my stitch. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to number it stitch because I've done this a few times. I'm going to number this one 4. Okay, so now I could technically stitch this out, right? So I am going to pop my design or my yarn out of the hoop. I have my tearaway attached. And the recommendation I'm going to use, let me draw a line too so you can see what I'm doing, guys. I'm going to turn on my projector. And I'm going to use 2A. Because it has that little channel in the back, which allows for the extra buildup of stitches. Let me see if I can turn it this way. See that little channel in the back? That is designed for your extra buildup of stitches. You don't want to use the IDT because you want the machine to freely stitch. And if you use the IDT, it might go a little wonky, but this is where we start. You can always make adjustments.
Which foot is that?
2A.
Oh, okay.
It for you, is that Terry?
Yes,
Terry, for you, it would be the B foot, maybe?
B, okay.
Yeah, I think.
Did you
But
say
yes,
you're gonna
sir.
give us a written sheet for how to do that stitch
Oh,
edit?
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to start up here and see how I'm using the projector. Lower it. Okay. You know what? I might turn off the grid too. Does everybody know how to turn off the grid? I just
In the
go
who-
into the, here, let
in
me
the-
show you. I go into the projector and where it says grid,
Oh,
you can turn it on and off. So I turned it off. Because I don't want to get confused. This is fine. And then I'm just going to stitch. Ready? Here we go. You know what? I'm going to use this. I get better control when I use start stop button. And I'm lining up that beam of light with my marking. Let it feed itself through.
when you do that, can you edit, like make it wider or the width and the length of it or not when you create a
Yes, you
stitch?
can. You would have to do all that before. I'm going to show you how it's possible to change the density, but I didn't want to do that because I left it open. I like that open look for a
Yep.
reason. And then there's a difference between these two buttons. This button here represents the fix button on the Epic. And what it will do is it'll finish the sequence. Come on. This one, if I had pushed it before now, it would have finished the sequence and then cut it, stopped and cut it. So there, see how it, let me turn it this way. Got too much light coming through. See how that's kind of got like a little bit of an open weave to it? I like that look. Now, let me show you a couple other ones that I did. Go back in the cloud. In my folder. I wish the cloud was back. But here's one I did. Look at that one. And what I did is I copied the heart and then mirror imaged it. I'll stitch these out too so you could see. And then here's another one that had the little baubles in the middle. And I like that one too. So there's a lot of ways you can play with a Stitch Creator. This is just one of them.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, let's go share my screen and we'll finish up here in 5 minutes, real quick. I don't want to keep you longer than necessary. Let me remove the spotlight here for this. And then I am going to turn on the software. by sharing my screen. Just show you real quick how to do it. By no means is this meant to get you going. So what I need to do is when I go over here to the home screen, oh boy, it's hidden. All right. Let me stop the share for a minute because I can't see how many clicks over it is. So I have to click one create. Okay. Now I can go back. I hope you can see this. I should do a little video of this too. That should help. Maybe that's what I'll do. But I'll just do a quickie right here. Okay, there's a little create button right here in the back. Wonder if I can bring this down. But yeah, let's see, I can bring it down, but I can't get to it. Oh, booger. Let me see. Back up again. We're gonna try something different. Okay, in the software, what I'm doing is there's home, and then I'm going to create. Whoops, there's home, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across is embellish. And now let me see if I can share it. You might be able to see what I'm doing. Well, this is in platinum only. Okay, so this is the screen that pops up. There you go. So you see this little box here?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
That little box is yarn, or that's ribbon the first one, yarn the second one, and beads the third, and rhinestones. This is if you want to place rhinestones individually on your fabric. So I am going to go into beads. I am going to go into insert gallery. This is the easiest way to do this. When you insert gallery, another screen comes up, pops up, and you pick either 2mm beads or 4mm beads. So the software is already set for that size bead. Then you click on this and close, and there's your design.
Ah,
That's all it takes. So,
So it tells you which ones you can pick. It's not any design.
right.
Okay.
That's what the beads. That's why I did that one first. If you go into ribbon and you go into insert from gallery, it'll give you a list of all these different designs, and there's a whole category of hearts. So see how they're basically there.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
you could recreate your own designs yourself. Okay.
What does it do with the sequins?
Oh, that is I've never done that, but I think it's like a cutout or a type of stitching design. I'm not sure. That would be a
Okay.
question for Cindy. Okay, so now I would just click on it. So I clicked on it. It's already preset for the size, and I send it to my machine. Easy peasy.
just don't change the size.
Nope, don't change the size. Okay, then I click on the yarn. I go into insert from gallery. And again, hearts. So these are all the yarn ones. So this is your quickie design. This is this is not digitizing. This is a quickie. I don't know how to explain it. And then I click on this, open it, close it, and there's my yarn design. Now when I hover over this, it tells me that it's yarn. It tells me the size right up here. And I don't know if you can change this. Let me give it a try. So maybe you can change it a little bit if you want it. I think that's what Cindy did. And then she went into edit points so that when you start editing, see all those points? Then you can just move it back and forth like this. Change the shape of it if you want.
So
This
can you
is-
change the color at this point or no?
Well, let's see. It may not. I don't know. Let's try
Just
this.
so you
fuchsia.
like that one that was white, so you could.
Right. Let's put a dark fuchsia. So when we're in that design mode, yes, it will change it.
And I kept it as a yarn.
Kept
Yeah.
it as a yarn, but it didn't change it to purple. Change it purple over here.
No, it didn't change the color, no.
No. Okay. And then, so that's the yarn.
Can you
the
go
ribbon.
back on that one? Are those beads gonna stitch on top of each other at the very beginning? Did you see that?
One of my, those
Like,
were
so
the
you can see the beads.
beads is a separate category. I'm in the yarn.
Oh, that was just the point. That was
That
just
was just,
a,
yeah, that was just the
yeah.
point.
okay.
Adeline,
Yeah.
I have a question. So when I tried to stitch out the hearts today,
Mhm.
I had trouble. I couldn't do it. I was getting an error message, but the heart designs show up as a VP4
Mhm.
in my FAF icon too.
Mhm.
For some reason, it wouldn't stitch today. Is it okay that it shows it as a VP4 in my machine?
Yeah, I didn't have any problem. I'm not sure why you did, Heidi.
I was getting some, I kept getting the same error. It said, please remove the embellishment attachment.
That's what I got also.
And I did it multiple times. I shut off my machine. I don't know what was wrong.
Okay, so what I want you to do is try one of the designs in that built into the machine and see if it works.
Mine
So-
did. Mine would do a built-in one, but it would not do yours. It gave me that same message.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it again, but I tried for 2 hours this morning and I couldn't, it gave me that constantly. And then I
Did
tried
you-
the one that worked and it worked again.
Which one?
The one that says I love you, which I
Okay,
was
the one that's built into your machine.
correct.
Okay,
I always
And
get
I did
confused.
mine
What,
from a USB.
hang on. Go ahead.
what is the format that gets sent to the machine? A VP3 or a VP4? What does it need to see to stitch on the machine?
If you see, I'm not sure I can do this. So here's what I want you to do. I don't know if it'll show up on this screen or not. Oh boy. Let me see if I can move it. All right. If I go to File and Export, I want to try changing it to VP3. See, it's not gonna work on mine because
Yeah.
the other way works. So
Right, yeah.
I
that
would
was the
change it to VP3 and stick it on a USB. You know, select up here your USB drive, right? Yes.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And then send it to your USB stick as a VP3 and see if that works.
Mhm.
And then let me know. All right. I gotta,
Okay.
let me see if it won't, I'm talking to myself strangely, but let me try it as an export to VP3 and then see if that makes a difference. That's my only solution right now because I didn't have any problem and I don't know why I didn't have any problem. I wasn't
Adeline, when when you sent those files to us, what was it, a VP3 or a VP4?
Well, I'm gonna
4.
check. Yeah,
It was a 4.
I'm pretty sure they were 4.
Yeah,
But-
VP4.
Yeah, because
So-
that's what it was in the software. And so I just sent it over and it stitched fine. So that's why I'm
But-
saying. Go
but it-
ahead. What?
Sent to her, did you export them or how did you get them? Did you put them on a USB?
I just sent them directly from the software to my machine like I did today.
No, but Heidi, that didn't get them to
Oh,
print.
Heidi.
Oh, say I downloaded it on my computer and I put it on a USB. I put the
That's the
USB.
problem, Adeline, because it's not converting it to the right format for the machine, because she saved it as a VP4 and we need a VP3.
So that's why I'm saying, try export to a USB as a VP3 and see if that
Or
makes a
send
difference.
it directly from your machine to the machine. Don't, you know what I'm saying, Adeline? Bring it up on a
Yes, I do.
screen.
You have to convert it to a VP3. Don't leave it as a VP4, which is the software version. Right?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
you know, I'm at this point. This is so new. We try anything. But I did not
Okay.
have any problems, just so you know.
But
Yeah.
Because you were sending them directly from your screen to the machine, so it was converting it, correct?
I guess, yes. You're
But
right.
if I don't have software, how would I
Yeah.
do that?
You just get the,
Oh,
no, yes, she can do that with the basic software, Heidi.
okay.
So go into the My Sonnet. Let me switch out here now, because you guys got the hang of all that, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, so let me,
Adeline, I think you're still recording. Did you want to?
I am, yes, because I think this is important enough to record.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
So I am going to, I lost my train of thought. Oh, gosh.
You were
What
gonna
was I-
get her to download the software, the My
You're gonna
Sonnet.
get out of platinum?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you.
I
It's a
have
li-
the basic.
You have the basic?
Mhm.
Okay, try exporting it in the basic and see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know that I'm not alone though, because I kept
Oh, no,
trying. So
no, that's fine because that came up during this class and I didn't have any problems. But there's a problem on your end. So,
okay.
and it probably is because I'm sending it directly from the software, whereas I sent you the designs separate so that you can open it up in the basics, export it to VP3 and then give it a go. And then let me know, Heidi, okay? See if
Okay.
it works. And Terry, you give it a try too.
I will.
Okay. Because that's the only way we're going to troubleshoot.
Absolutely.
I can't recreate it on my machine if it
Right.
works
I
fine.
had that burned into my brain though, how you always say, save it as a VP4,
Right.
because you can always alter it.
Yes. Yes.
But once it goes to the machine, it needs to be a VP3, correct?
Okay. That's my understanding. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think that's what Cindy was trying to explain to you. Terry,
Right.
on
Yeah.
your hippo.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, any other questions before I shut off the recording? Because
I
I
have
wanted,
a question.
go ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right. The Rick Rack, which, is that similar to which one would we use? The beading or the yarn, or how are we gonna do
I
the
use the
Rick Rack?
ribbon. I use
The ribbon. You did
Mhm.
use the ribbon. Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
I use the ribbon. And I'm trying to think back what I did. But let me look at my design because I can tell by looking at the stitching.
Okay.
Whether it was, oh, Well, that was dumb. I got a lining. I can't tell. Let me see if I can. Yes, ribbon.
Okay,
It was a straight stitch going straight. Yep.
that makes sense.
And it's the 1/8 inch baby rickrack that I used. So,
Did you use a design for that, or you just were using it to sew it on straight?
no, I used a design. Let me look
Well, you
again.
said it was straight. That's why I didn't know. if
Well,
you-
that's what the ribbon does. The ribbon attachment sews a straight line and sews down the middle of the ribbon.
Okay,
So the baby rickrack is, I named it baby rickrack,
Mm-hmm. Right,
and it is the ribbon attachment. All it says on it is ribbon. So,
okay. I probably would have figured that out looking at that design. Okay,
mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
okay,
Okay, anything else?
nope,
All right. Everybody feel comfortable in trying out your machine and your attachment now?
yep,
Start off small. Don't start with a butterfly.
like me. You gave a lot of good information. I appreciate it very much.
All
Yeah,
right, great.
Definitely. Always.
Okay. All right. Next up, coming next week is I'm going back and doing the machine lessons again because there was a request for that. So I am doing the machine lessons if anybody's interested.
Did you turn it on? Did you hear anything?
So, all righty. Is that you, Cindy, talking?
Yeah.
How do you sign up for the machine lessons?
It's, I'll put a post on the, Cindy, turn off.
Like it is now.
I'll turn it off.
I think that's what we heard before.
Sorry,
Adeline.
I didn't know.
Okay, I heard Dave, so I knew.
Yep, sorry, I thought I was muted.
You are now. But now I lose my, oh, yeah, I'll post it, Heidi, on the group. And
Okay.
I'll tell you which lesson we're doing.
Okay.
So, I gotta get with Kathy tomorrow and see, make sure it's on the website and all that other stuff, so. before
You're
I
gonna
post
do them Zoom as well?
Yes, yes. How
Okay.
did you like this setup? Was it easier to see with this setup? Because Alma, you're one of the ones that and Janet, I didn't have that extra camera.
No, that was
Yes,
very
much-
useful.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I can do that. Just have another camera. I have a little gizmo here that holds the camera with a light. I've been watching a lot of videos.
Yeah, no,
You're gonna be a pro.
Oh, no, but
yeah, you could see everything. You could see
Yeah,
the
good.
camera, the machine. Yes.
good, wonderful. All righty.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to end the recording right now, so.